Hey y'all, so I'm just starting off by prepping her skin with some micellar water just to get off any kind of old makeup residue she might have on her face. Then I'm going to go over it with some Sonia Roselli water elixir just to add some more moisture to her skin. She's got some dry patches and things that we wanted to work on. And then I'm going over her face with Sonia Roselli water balm as well. Just adds even more moisture to her face so she's not dry or flaky at all once we put the foundation on. Going in with Anastasia Beverly Hills brow powder and soft brown just to fill in her brows some, give her a little bit more shape, and fill in any kind of sparse areas. You want to make sure that you make the front of the brow a little more soft than you would make the tail of the brow. And try to match them up as evenly as possible. Most people's brows aren't perfectly symmetrical to begin with, but you want to try to get as close as possible. After you're done filling them in, you want to go over them with a spoolie brush just to kind of break up the product in the brow and smooth everything in. I'm just cross-checking here to make sure everything is as symmetrical as possible. Going in now with a small concealer brush and Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Just going to give a little more definition to the bottom of the brow and also spread it down over the eyelid to create a clean base for the eyeshadow. Make sure to get into those inner corners. That's where most of the darkness is. So you want to make sure it's all lightened up. One color. Just spread it all in. Starting off by laying down a nice even transition shade. I use the Viseart Siren palette as well as the Minx and Nuance palettes. There are no names to the shades in these palettes. I just grabbed a neutral rose tone and just built that up, layering it on to make it more deep. I'm going in with a darker brown to the outer crease to give some more definition and pull her eyes out more. Using a clean brush here to blend out the edges, and then going back in with the smaller detailed brush to add more intensity in that outer corner. You can see I'm just going back and forth here to build a gradient while also building the intensity. Going back in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer to clean up the lid and create more of that cut crease shape that she was going for. Now I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow in Pink Champagne. I use this on a wet brush to press that in, give it as much intensity as I could. And I actually end up going back in with a second layer to help it pop even more. I dipped back into that deepest brown shade that we finished the outer crease with previously. And I'm just adding more intensity around the crease. I wanted a nice contrast here. She was definitely looking for a more dramatic eyeshadow look, but I like to balance that as well. Make sure the edges are soft, colors are soft. Keep it nice and clean. This is me adding that second layer of the pink champagne color to just build up the intensity even more. Going back in with a flat definer brush into that dark brown to go right along that edge, the top of the cut crease. This just gives more definition, more of a contrast, and more of that sharp line at the very top. Starting foundation now. We used RCMA Foundation, and I mixed that with Sonia Roselli the water oil, and that just gives a good medium coverage to the foundation, makes it more spreadable. I laid it down with that brush initially, and then I kind of spread it around with the sponge. That helps soak up excess product and just push the product into the skin more. I'm just building coverage where I need it. I like for the skin to still look like skin at the end. I don't want it to look like foundation. And you'll notice that you can still see some of her freckles peeking through. Going in now with the the Urban Decay 24/7 liner in Whiskey into her waterline just to add more definition to the eye. Blended that out some and added a little bit of a smoky burgundy shade underneath. Going in with more of the RCMA foundation, but I lessened the amount of oil in it so you get more color payoff, basically doubling it as a concealer. And I'm just blending out that line of the shadow into the concealer. You'll see me do this a couple times, just layering here to get to the coverage that I want and the brightness that I want. Using a tiny bit more of a lighter shade to add more brightness under the eye there. Still keeping it soft and still using very little amount of product on her face. The good thing about the RCMA foundations is that there's so much pigmentation. They can pretty much cover anything, and you can totally customize them to the amount of coverage that you want depending on what you mix them with and how you apply. Going in now with the Danessa Myricks Evolution Powder in the Invisible shade. It's good for all skin tones. Really pressing that into the skin to lock in the foundation that we've applied. Lightly contouring here. This is where knowledge of facial structure kind of helps come into play. You notice that the bridge of her nose is a little wider at the top between her brows, and then it's thinner down the length of her nose, and then the end of her nose is more round. So you'll notice that I'm focusing most of the contouring product up but around her brows and that wider area, and then down around the tip of her nose. Very little product in the middle. We're just balancing things out. And now I'm going in with a flat paddle type brush and just pushing that powder into the skin. You'll notice that I'm not brushing it off. I'm pushing it in to just further lock in the foundation and concealer. Lightly blushing her, I'm using Femme blush in Bordeaux. Going in now with the Inglot number 77 eyeliner and doing a very light, smoky wing. Keeping it pretty thin, keeping it soft. I'm just lifting her lid there to make sure that I'm getting all the way into the lash line. Going in now with some 3D Mink lashes. Not entirely sure of the style that I used. I can tell you that they were more flared on the outer edge there. They were pretty thick. And I ended up cutting off about 1/8 of an inch from the outer corner just to fit them to her eye. Highlighting here with the OFRA Rodeo Drive highlighter. I just mixed all the shades together. And then I actually ended up topping that with the Fenty Glow Balm, I believe it's called, and How Many Carats, just to give more of a sparkle on top. Going in now with the white shade. It's like a frosty white shade from the OFRA palette. Now I'm going in with the Stila Glitter and Glow eyeshadows, the little liquids. This is the Diamond Dust shade. I'm using a silicone applicator to put this on. Mascara to blend her natural lashes into her false lashes. Definitely always hit those bottom lashes. I'm using Tarte mascara with a disposable wand, of course. You always want to use disposable wands on your clients. Don't double dip in the mascara. That's incredibly unsanitary. Going in now with just a Q-tip so I could be more precise on that inner corner there with another one of the Stila Glitter and Glow shadows. This shade is Kitten Karma. It's more of a pinky champagne kind of shade. Now I'm filling in her lips with Anastasia Beverly Hills Pure Hollywood liquid lipstick. It's a very light coating. And then I top that with the Chanel Rouge Coco Gloss in Poppea. You saw it before, and here is the after. This is where I'm going over with that Fenty highlighter. Just doing little final touches there. She was really happy with it, which makes me happy. So I look forward to doing more of these videos for you guys. Any suggestions, let me know. Any looks y'all want to see, let me know. Thank you for watching.